Ferrari is on the brink of clinching third in the 2021 Constructors' Championship after a strong late season run. While it's not a done deal, Ferrari's current form combined with a 39.5 point lead over McLaren means it would require a hugely unlikely turn of events for the positions to be reversed. But regardless of the final standings, what matters is that Ferrari has taken a big step forward this year in what racing director Laurent Mekies has described as its reconstruction. Much has changed at Ferrari recently, and this improvement is seen as a step towards its ambitions of re-emerging as a title-winning force. So how far has Ferrari come? What has changed? And what does it mean for 2022? Ferrari endured a dismal season in 2020, slumping to its worst Constructors' Championship position in 40 years with 6th place. This was primarily down to poor power unit performance, the consequence of a series of technical directives that Ferrari itself collaborated in formulating because of the FIA's suspicions, unproven, that it was operating its engines outside of the regulations. But there were also wider car and infrastructure weaknesses. Given those struggles, when team principal Mattia Binotto set 3rd place in the Constructors' Championship as its minimum objective for the coming season, this perhaps seemed a little too ambitious. But Ferrari started the season strongly, particularly in terms of single lap pace. In fact, it was the fastest outside of Red Bull and Mercedes in qualifying for the first 7 races, a run that included Charles Leclerc's pole positions in Monaco and Azerbaijan. This wasn't always backed up by race pace. Ferrari worked on this in terms of setup to improve its long-run pace at front tyre limited circuits in particular, but it wasn't until the introduction of its modified hybrid system, crucially doubling the voltage of its energy store from 400 to 800 volts, that Ferrari was able to assert itself over McLaren in the battle for 3rd place. The upgrade was installed in Leclerc's car for the Russian Grand Prix, with Sainz getting it a race later in Turkey. The power unit upgrade has allowed Ferrari to edge clear of McLaren and AlphaTauri in the battle to have the 3rd fastest car on average in dry conditions. In the last 5 races, Ferrari has outscored McLaren by 81 points to 24, thanks to getting both cars home in the top 8 every time. This has put it in a strong position to secure 3rd place in the Constructors' Championship. Mekies believes this progress shows the effectiveness of Ferrari's reconstruction. After all, it has scored more than double its 2020 points tally and emerged as best of the rest behind Red Bull and Mercedes. That reconstruction isn't only about what happened on track, but away from it as well. We'll get into that in a moment, but first, thanks for taking the time to watch this latest video from the race. We massively appreciate it, and your support helps us to keep doing what we do, especially if you also hit the like button and join our 700,000 strong group of subscribers. We've got plenty planned for the final weeks of the season and won't let up during the winter, so to make sure you know when there's something new to watch, please do strike the notifications bell. And now back to Ferrari. The most obvious on-track sign of Ferrari's reconstruction is power unit performance. The hybrid upgrade is not just about performance this season, but as Binotto has said repeatedly, it's a key step that will be built on with the all-important 2022 engine package. That's so important because the power unit specifications will be frozen during 2022, meaning the performance levels will be locked in for 2023 to 2025, prior to the planned introduction of F1's new engine formula in 2026. There are big changes planned for the rest of the power unit next season. Ferrari evaluated and decided against switching to the split turbo concept pioneered by Mercedes in 2014 and adapted by Honda subsequently, with Renault also switching to it next season. This is because it has found significant gains with combustion technology for what will be an evolution of its current V6 for 2022. But it's not just about the engine side. Ferrari completed its new driver-in-loop simulator in July. Developed in association with British-based high-performance motion simulation specialist Dynisma, this has been playing an active role in 2022 car development and has been described by Ferrari as a generational leap. There have also been a series of restructures at Ferrari over the past 18 months, designed to re-establish a team that last won a World Championship back in 2008, when it won the Constructors' title, as the preeminent force in F1. In 2020, Ferrari created its short-lived performance department, which was a move made because of the unique challenges of that year with the COVID-19 pandemic, leading to the new technical regulations originally planned for 2021 being postponed to 2022. That created the need to modify the way Ferrari did things, but was then changed over the winter. Former head of Aero Enrico Cardier headed up that performance department, but for the restructure ahead of this season he was appointed the head of the chassis group within a wider performance group. While it might sound like rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic, it was a key change that solidifies Cardier's position as a de facto technical director. This is also connected to wider changes at Ferrari to adapt to the restrictions of the cost cap, with a number of personnel seconded to the Haas team, including its technical director Simone Resta. The changes have sharpened up every aspect of Ferrari's operations, from the design and development side to trackside operations. While 2020 was a dire season on track, it has resulted in the foundations being laid for Ferrari's potential recovery. The process of reconstruction is not yet complete, but the fundamental building blocks are there for Ferrari. By responding to its 2020 slump and to the wider changes in F1 in the cost cap era, it appears well placed for the future. So what should we expect from Ferrari in 2022? It's a good question, and it won't be answered properly until the racing starts in Bahrain next March, but the ingredients are all there for it to be able to challenge at the front. Its driver lineup of Leclerc and Sainz is among the best in Formula 1, and if the expectations of the engine department are delivered on, then it should have a power unit that is able to compete with Mercedes and Honda. Right now, its improved 2021 engine is reckoned to be broadly on a par with the Renault that powers Alpine, so it still has ground to make up against F1's leading engines. Aerodynamically, the team is confident it has done good work on the 2022 car, but it has no idea what its rivals have achieved, so it remains to be seen where it stacks up in terms of downforce levels and chassis performance. But after its troubles in 2020, when the car had too much drag for the available power, the processes used for aero development are more robust. It's also worth noting that its poor position last year, and the fact it was ranked 4th when the wind tunnel and CFD testing allowances were reset at the end of June this year, means it has benefited from more aerodynamic testing in 2021 than Mercedes, Red Bull and McLaren. And while Ferrari has made good progress with its 2021 car, the vast majority of its resources this year have been focused on 2022 design and development work. However, what has happened on track this year is confirmation it is doing things the right way, so expectations are legitimately high. Ferrari has underachieved in Formula 1 for far too long. It has focused the majority of its resources on 2022, restructured extensively, and chosen the technical paths both for the chassis and engine it believes will pay off. It lacks for nothing in terms of resources and will be operating at the limit of what the cost cap allows, so it has all the right ingredients to re-emerge as a title-winning force in 2022. Whether it will is another question. The reconstruction phase is largely complete, and it will be expected to start next year strongly. If not, then questions will be asked about whether the Binotto era at Ferrari has run its course. Let us know in the comments if you expect Ferrari to be a title contender next year and what you think of the changes. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you like and subscribe.